How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a black police officer by the name of Jakari Jackson, a 10-year veteran out there in Portland, Oregon, totally exposing Black Lives Matter in a video that should be viral. If it's not viral by now, it should be, because everything he said in this video is right on point. You're speaking about the so-called BLM protests, how their majority non-black, mostly white, and what he said about Portland is true for the entire nation. Okay, go to any city around the nation, you're talking about 80, 90, maybe even 100% non-black protests for Black Lives Matter. Why is that? He also dug into the whole thing of racism against the black cops from the majority white crowd in the so-called BLM protests, and a lot more. Now, before we go any further, let's go ahead and roll the clip. In this clip, you'll see all of what I was talking about. After we get done with that, I'll talk about what was said. Then I'll give you my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
I got to see folks that really do want change, like the rest of us that have been impacted by racism. And then I got to see those people get faded out by people that have no idea what racism is all about, never experienced racism, that don't even know that the tactics that they are using are the same tactics that were used against my people. And they don't even know they don't even know the history. They don't know what they're saying. Coming from someone who graduated from PSU with a history degree, it's actually frightening on how, they say if you don't know your history, you repeat it, and watching people do that to other people just because of what they decide to do with their life.
What are some of those interactions that you're...
So a lot of times someone of color, black, Hispanic, Asian, come up to the fence and directly want to talk to me. Hey, what do you think about George Floyd? What do you think about what happened about this? I go up to the fence, someone white comes up, F the police, don't talk to him. That was the most bizarre thing, because I could see it coming. I even had a young African American girl tell me, why is it you guys aren't talking to us? I said, honestly, this is now the 23rd day of doing it. Every time I try to have a conversation with someone that looks like me, someone white comes up and blocks them and tells them not to talk. And then right when I said that, this white girl popped right in front of her and she said, he just said that was going to happen. I said, I told you. She looked at the girl and said, why'd you do that? And I straight up, I said, I've been called the N-word. She's been called the N-word. Why are you talking to me this way? Why do you feel that she can't speak for herself to me? Why is it that you feel you need to speak for her when we're having a conversation? And she couldn't answer my question. All she said was, someone told me to do it. So that has been a very strange thing to watch. I'm cool with, people feeling like they want to help a movement, but then when you go to a gentrified community, and one of the first pictures I saw of one of the business that was looted was a black-owned business, I'm like, they're not even from here. They don't even know what they're even doing. It says something when you're at a Black Lives Matter protest, you have more minorities on the police side than you have in a violent crowd, and you have white people screaming at black officers. You have the biggest nose I've ever seen. Having people tell you, what to do with your life, that you need to quit your job, that you need to, you're hurting your community, but they're not even part of the community. And once again, you as a privileged white person telling someone of color what to do with their life.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, everything the officer said in that clip was right on point, 1,000% on point. Go to any city across the nation at a so-called protest, you'll see majority white crowds. Okay, they had a Black Lives Matter protest in Provo, Utah. How many black folks live in Provo, Utah? I never heard about anybody saying, hey, I'm gonna go to Provo, it's lit. That's not even what's going on. They say, I'm gonna go to Atlanta, I'm gonna go to Dallas, I'm gonna go to somewhere else, but Provo, Utah, I mean, come on. even in high black population areas, you'll still see majority white crowds, or at least majority non-black. You know, even if it's not majority white, it would never be majority black. And the question is why? Why does an organization have the name Black Lives Matter, but you go out to the protests, it's majority non-black? What's really going on? Who's really behind it? Who really is getting their needs met or their purpose filled by having these so-called protests, which ain't nothing but riots? I mean, all over the nation you have riots. They're not peaceful. Ain't no peaceful protesters no more at these BLM so-called protests. It's all riots. And I've been saying that for weeks. People say, oh no, people are still peaceful. I can't tell. It's usually somewhere right in between small skirmish and large scale riot. Whatever the case may be, I don't want to be there because that middle point is still very dangerous. Now, let's talk about the racism that comes from the majority non-black, mostly white crowds at the BLM protests. What he said about, oh, you know, your nose, biggest I've ever seen. I've gotten a lot of that type of stuff in my inbox, okay? I get that all the time, every day from white liberals. That is so very common, okay? I'm gonna tell you about the white liberal right quick. They are not much different than the white supremacists. Really, they're kind of the same. Now I'm gonna explain. The white supremacist thinks that black people are inferior to him and everybody else, and that he won't do anything about it, and he feels good about it. He wants to get away from them. He wants his own little world over here, or he might want to go out there and hurt somebody. But episodes of that happening are pretty rare. You're talking about Dylan Roof. How often does that really happen? Not very often, but it does happen from the white supremacists. And the white liberal think the same thing about black folks, but they're more compassionate with it. They think that black folks are the lowest on the low, lowest on the totem pole, and, you know, they have to do things to fix it. They have to come in and save us. Now, if their vision means attacking all police officers and all conservatives, whether they're black, white, Puerto Rican, Candy Stripe, they will do that. So what happens is I'm a conservative, right? And Jakari Jackson is a police officer. We're the enemy to the white liberals, so they got to attack us. And that's when the racism comes out. Things they probably have been told their whole life by their parents and their friends and their family comes out against us. But it's all in the name of trying to defend black people. It doesn't make any sense at all, but that's what they think. That's where their mind is pretty much at, okay? And a lot of these people are being controlled by higher powers, people that want to, you know, install Marxism and communism and stuff like that. A key point in the video is when he was talking about the young lady that came up to him, black girl, and she was asking about George Floyd and the protests and what his thoughts on it were. Now they're having a conversation, they're chopping it up and everything is peaceful, everything is fine. Here comes random white liberal girl. Don't talk to him, F the police, ACAB. And he's asking her like, hey, why did you do that? I'm talking to the young lady and you butting in. Why do you think that you must speak for her? Which is very common. You know, there's memes about it where it'll be a black person talking about what's going on and their viewpoint. Here comes random white liberal like, shh, don't say anything anymore. That's racist, obviously, but they think they're helping. They think in their mind and their sick, twisted, demented mind that they're doing the right thing. Okay. But anyway, the officer asks, why'd you do that? We're having a conversation. And the person couldn't really answer. All they could really say is, oh, somebody told me to do it. Now, they could have been lying. Maybe they didn't really want to say the truth, which was that they don't want black folks to talk and have real conversation because they want to control it because they know what's best. That could have been it, and it might have been. But it probably was true that she had been told to do it by somebody else. People that are down there trying to install Marxism, communism, or whatever else they want to do. Okay, that's pretty much what's going on. You have racist white liberals that are controlled by racist white liberal Marxists, white liberal communists. Okay, we've gone far away from Black Lives Matter. You know, I'm talking about political things and white racism. What does it got to do with Black Lives Matter? How does it make sense to have white racists involved with Black Lives Matter? You see how this makes no sense at all? Anybody that was peaceful is long gone. That's long over with. That's a thing of the past. Nobody is peaceful anymore in these so-called protests, really riots and insurrections. That's what's happening right now today as I sit here in front of you. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that I'm correct with my assertion about Black Lives Matter, Antifa? And really, I think that Black Lives Matter and Antifa are the same. There's no difference. The whole race thing is not even important anymore because, like I said, most of these so-called BLM protests are white, majority white, 80, 90 to 100% white. And same thing with Antifa. How are they any different? They got the same tactics, same racial makeup, same everything. Chaz Chop, it was BLM and Antifa. What was the difference? I couldn't tell. They're doing the same exact thing out there on the ground. Race is becoming less important nowadays. Although it still is important, what's more important is political ideology and your personal viewpoints, your personal philosophy that you abide by every day. Okay, your belief system and your political ideology are what really shines through in America and the world. Your race is not even really the thing. And you see that out here on the streets every day, these so-called protests, really riots and insurrections. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.